In-depth makeup tutorial for beginners with affordable products.
Already prepped. Close up on what we're working with, and skin wise, I have acne. We've cleaned up most of the hair. Let me do my eyebrows. Just gonna brush them up. Since I trimmed them and made them clean, this is pretty easy. And just fill in wherever I feel like I need it for where it's sparse. Personally, it's really sparse here on the inside, and I just go up and kind of fill and do a line at the top and then keep going up. I used to use a lighter brown and now I use the deep brown. So that's the finished one, and then this is the unfinished one. So I'm gonna go on foundation next. I like the True Match from L'Oreal. They also have a website that allows you to find your perfect shade. And for me, I feel like this has always helped because I change shades so much throughout the year. So like, honestly, I'm really happy with that. And as you can tell, I put it on my finger first to kind of warm it up. And I spread it on my face with my finger just a little bit. This is just preference of how I like to apply it. And once it's spread on my face a little bit, I go in with a foundation brush. So this is my foundation brush. Again, preference. If you like a beauty blender, do a beauty blender. For me, I've never liked beauty blenders. I've always enjoyed the coverage and look of a brush. I kind of go in little tiny circles. Here I am really bringing it into my ears, into my jawline, a little bit down the neck, under my eyes. This is why I love this shape of the brush for my eye shape personally. If you have less real estate between your eyelid, I would maybe recommend using a smaller brush for that area, or using concealer and a concealer brush. But again, the focus right now is to just get a light coverage overall. I finish off with this more patting motion, especially in the areas where I have acne, and that is just because it, I think, finishes off the look, blends it just a little bit better into the skin, really pushes it in. And then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of bronzer. Really loaded it on the brush, and we're just gonna go in right here on the temples for me. I feel like this helps give my face more of a narrow look. I have a pretty round head. I like to bring it all the way up through my hairline as much as I can. I think one of the most important things is figuring out where you want to add bronzer onto your face. I am a big bronzer fan. So as you can tell, there's a bit of a natural shadow line here as well. Gonna just bring that down a little bit. I do a circular motion. It's like a tap in and then a circular motion out just a little bit. Really trying to keep it blended as much as I can. Following up in the jawline as well, and the nose. I'm gonna go on with a little bit of concealer. I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Wear. This is my favorite concealer. I love the skin color match as well. I get this one a little bit lighter and a little bit darker, and I keep both of those in my makeup bag. That way, depending on the look that I need, if I want to switch it up, I can. Right now, I think this is the right shade for the look that I'm currently going for, because it's gonna add a little bit of brightening to those areas. I think that where you actually have creases, you should try and avoid applying to directly, because I tend to get creasing if I apply it directly. Okay, I blended that out. You can see there's like a huge line difference, and that's good. It's very carved. Okay, I add a little bit more concealer. I added some by the nose, on the bridge of the nose, underneath my eyebrows, and then some on my chin. I let it sit for a little while, and now we're gonna go into it. I'm bringing it down just a little bit, tapping it in. I really like doing the side of the nose. I think it looks great for me personally and my nose. I'm not going to be pulling this a lot. I'm really trying to just like tap it into my skin as much as possible. Again, just tapping it in there, tapping it in there. If you apply too much, it's better to just like tap it off onto your hand and then pick it back up. Do not overspread it into areas where you do not actually want it to be. So here it is blended. Here it is unblended. Whoa. Here's my skin fully blended before we do any blush and any lipstick, any eyeshadow. For blush, I have two choices. I could use this one, which is the Berry blush from Maybelline, I believe. And I could use the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Color Balm. I'm gonna use the Color Balm just because I really like the way it melts into my skin. I'm gonna tap in this really small brush to load it up. And I know that this is a small brush to use for blush, but it's pretty high in pigment. And so I like to kind of just do a concentrated circle and build from there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with my blush placement. And so I'm actually gonna go in with a fluffier brush now and give it a little bit of smile and really blend out my blush. I could have probably gone in with the big brush first, but I think it's adding too much product to like a bigger brush, and this is just better in my opinion for the Color Balm to like make it look more natural whenever I'm blending it into my skin. And again, I kind of take a look. I think I want it to be a little bit more red, and so I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more just for my preference. So a little bit of concentration again. And blush placement is like so specific to like anybody. I like to just go in, again, do a little bit more of blending, and then any leftover I have on the brush, I'm just gonna like spread it around other parts of my face and my neck, my chest. And I feel like that's kind of like the magic of like having everything like blend in a little bit better, is like throwing that blush around a little once you have it loaded on. That's my base tutorial. Like you could stop here and completely do any other look that you want and take it into a different direction. This is just how I like to make my skin look like skin. I have a super shimmery bronzer and highlight palette. I really like using this darkest one for my eyelid for a look like this. Take this lighter one right here and also do that as well. Just on the inner corner some to add a little bit more gold. You can tell it's very subtle. I'm getting it a little bit in the inner corner as well with this fluffy brush. I think something that I did not realize was so important was the shape of your brush for whatever you're doing. Having the right brush for me makes a huge difference. I really like trying to blend the colors up here. So I'm also taking this one right here and blending that up into my eyebrow. Now I'm gonna take this super teeny tiny brush and a very dark brown in my e.l.f. matte eyeshadow palette. And I'm just gonna go crazy. I start with a bit of a wing, pull that in. Now you can tell it already creates such a nice shape. I find that to make my wing perfect, following the way, extending a little squint and following, there's a natural tilt. of any eye. My eye particular, this is the one that I think looks best. And just slowly loading it as dark as I can. Cool. In this case, we're going pretty sultry, so we're going to do a bit of under eye as well. And we're bringing it all the way in. Big fan of going in light. That way you can build it up and be intentional about where you're putting that color. A cool toned brown, and I'm going to be blending that in the under eye area as well. I think this kind of just helps add a little bit more balance to making that look. There's not a lot on this brush, but I swear there is something happening. I don't know if you can see the difference, but it's very subtle. And this cool tone brown is something you can probably find in any brown nude neutral palette. And it's going to be different for almost everyone's eyes. I'm going to kind of bring it up as well. Okay. Difference. It's strong. This is gonna get balanced out by the lashes, so like trust that this is gonna look balanced later. I'm taking a winged brush and I'm getting that same cool tone and I'm following along the line of the darker wing that I have. Oh, that way, yeah. And that's so it just blends out into the wing. Again, into a more subtle brown. I always kind of clean up with like the tip of my finger on my wings whenever I'm doing that. Don't really know if it even makes a difference. I just have developed that as a habit. About doing lashes, but I only have massive lashes and I don't want to use them today. So I'm going to just be using mascara. This is the Maybelline Firework Mascara in black, and I like the way that the regular black one looks. I also like how easy it is to take off in comparison to the waterproof one. Usually, I always go for like a waterproof mascara, but I noticed that the Firework doesn't fall for me. And I'm curious if that's for anyone else or what. Like, I can't tell if this is a tubing mascara, and I never really like looked it up, but I feel like it is because it falls off in the water so easily. I also want to add a little bit more white to my inner corner. I didn't add any, none of the looks that I saw have this. I just personally really like it. And I think it complements my eyes a lot. So just a little bit for a shimmer. Finishing up with a lip. Gonna go and really focus it under here and then line where my natural lip is, over here, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the bow, a little overline, and then match the rest of my line. Finishing up with a lip oil. I took a little bit of extra concealer on my brush and I just cleaned up right here under my eyes. I love kind of finishing up with concealer and blush, like almost like a second time. I feel like I can't get a full picture of how much blush I want until I actually finish with my lips and my eyes. And I don't really know if that's just a me thing, but I always end up wanting to add more or changing it just a little bit. Just because you finish a step, in my opinion, doesn't mean you can't go back and like add more to it, redo it, make it look exactly how you want it to. I don't think you should be scared to like layer on your makeup a little bit. Like, This is my skin. There's no filter on here. Obviously, I'm wearing makeup, but I think it also looks very nice and melted into my skin because I was done, and then I decided that I wanted to have a darker eyeliner. So now I'm going in with my Urban Decay eyeliner, and I do just the end. Like so. And then I also do the inner corner a little bit. Okay, here it is. I'm done. I added more blush and a little bit of highlight. I'm extra dewy, extra glowy, a little rosy, and I'm done.